Welcome back to Breaking Barriers. I am your host, Brisa de Angulo Lozada, and today we have the honor of having Shaun Capps, an amazing attorney that works with personal injury. So wonderful to have you today here at the show. I would love to know a little bit about you beyond your title and your work. Tell me something about you.
At the heart of everything I do, I'm just a family man, I think. We've been here in New York for 3 days. I miss my kids a lot. They are in that epic zone of...
How old are they?
They are 5, 3, and 1. So
beautiful.
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun. A lot of energy.
Yes, chaotic energy. But, just faith is at the heart of everything that I do. Beyond the title, it's just, husband, father, trying to be good at those and take care of that first. I really believe, and it is true, that before God ever instituted a church, he instituted a family. So for me to, be a husband to my wife, father to my kids, that's primary. That's the priority. So I think if I can have those in order first, then everything else kind of flows. Whatever title, whatever thing else comes after that is okay.
I love that. I love, the fact that you are working toward, how do I become the best person I can become to be and have the priorities, this is my priority, being a good father, be a good husband. And that automatically starts, going through. And that shows the care that you have for anyone who's going to get in contact with you.
Well, I would just add on to it, just if you have that in place and that is the right order that you have, then everything else flows naturally. Then work and anything else that you do after that just really happens the way it should, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And it's amazing to see how when you have in that priority, it's like things start happening and things start shining. You're like, oh, wow. So tell us a little bit about what you do now with your work and your title and
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So being a personal injury attorney it's very niche-y. It's easy to be in my world around plaintiffs' attorneys all the time and in that echo chamber, but really at the foundational level of what it is that someone is injured due to no fault of their own. They're heading to work, they're driving to work, and they're rear-ended, and we see the worst of the worst. Yes, there are fender benders, there are smaller situations, but there are some really catastrophic injuries that take place. And, experience has shown that anytime something like that happens, there's a blast radius. There's collateral damage all over the place. You miss time from work. You have lost wages. You can't play with your kids the way that you normally do. You can't pick them up. You can't, surgeries, recovery time. These are real things that people face. So what I get to do is I have the unique opportunity to walk alongside that person. And this is most often the most frustrating and more serious time in their life. And I get to, bring clarity to that confusion. I get to handle, be that advocate and go between them and the insurance company and figuring out all of those things, and they can just focus on recovering, and I can handle more of the technical side. So that's what I get to do. I get to help people in the hardest time of their life.
I love that. I love the fact that one of the hardest things when someone is going through a hard time is feeling alone.
Yep.
And that you can be there and say, you're not alone. Yep. You focus on healing.
Right.
And it's such a relief for these people to know, I found someone who's going to be my advocate, who's going to fight for me, and I don't have to worry about that. And to find that in such a horrific situation, it's kind of a floaty, something when you feel like you're drowning. It's like, here's a floaty, hold into it. I'm going to take you through it. So thank you for what you do.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times when you're dealing with all these new issues, they're not new to me and my team. That's what we do. Exactly. That's what we do, and that's why we exist, to be there to help you. So nothing is new to us.
You're not guessing. You know exactly what the next step is.
That's right.
And so they don't have, whoever's going through this, don't have to be thinking about is this the best thing? You already
right.
know what the best step is, what is the next thing, and that you can also show them these are the different things, and this is my recommendation because I've done it so many times.
Yeah.
Looking back into your journey, like, are there any personal barriers that you had to break through? Anything mentally, emotionally, situationally that got you to where you are now?
Yes, I don't think we have enough time to talk about the many barriers, but in all seriousness, yes, there are lots of them. I think the first thing that comes to mind, just talking about what I had to do overcoming, is I think imposter syndrome is a real thing sometimes. Self-doubt. Now as older, married with kids, I can look back and appreciate much of my upbringing in a way that I couldn't when I was younger. Now you look back and you're thankful for some of the values you learned through things. But I distinctly remember the first time that I stepped foot on campus. I went to Ole Miss undergrad, and when I first stepped on, I just felt so out of place. I just felt like I'm not supposed to be here. That somehow we joke about it, but that they're going to figure out that they messed me up, and I'm not supposed to be here. They're going to tell me to leave or something. And I was just unsure. I just felt like maybe people like me don't go to college, and that's not a woe is me. It's just a reality of that time. But I applied myself. I did better than I thought I would. Not a great student, not too ecstatic about school like some are, but I applied myself and got through it. That was a major barrier because once that first kind of wave taught me, okay, if I do apply myself, I can do it. And then that led to the thought of law school being very, very big at first, and then the more I thought about it, the more I prayed about it, the more I considered all the things, it got smaller and smaller, and to where ultimately I was like, okay, I can do this with God. God and I are the majority. We can do it, right? And so that's what led me. But that was a huge mental barrier, getting past it. That can I even do it? Can I do it? So the answer was yes, ultimately.
That's awesome. And you take one day at a time, because it can become very overwhelming. But when you say, okay, what do I have to do today? And making sure that our shoes are pointing toward where we want to go. So reading this book, answering these questions, and getting there to where you wanted to go. And something that you mentioned that to me is so important is that barriers don't always scream, and sometimes there are whispers inside of you saying you're not enough. And the sad part is that we believe it. And we have so many people just walking with this self-doubt of who I am. And you are an example of someone who said, hey, those little voices, I'm going to overcome them, and I'm going to succeed them no matter how difficult and huge what comes in front looks like. And I think that is a reflection also with your work and what you do. It seems impossible. It seems difficult to find solutions or find a way, but you are the type of person that no matter how difficult the situation is, you will find a way to get there, and that gives confidence and trust to the people who
And Brice, I do want to say, I feel like I've stand on the shoulders of so many people. It takes a support group. It takes people that will help you. There's a senior pastor in Mississippi, and he used to say all the time, he said, if you ever see a turtle sitting on a fence post, there's one thing is true, he didn't get there by himself. And I believe that. It took a lot of people that believed in me, that encouraged me, that prayed for me even when I maybe wasn't even praying for myself. So I'm very thankful for the support group that helped me. It was a collective group that helped me get there. So I'm very aware of that.
I love that. Something that you mentioned that is so important is you needed someone to believe in you when you didn't believe in yourself.
Absolutely.
And in a way, that is what you're doing for others. Yeah. You're believing that there's a way out even when they feel that there isn't one.
Yes.
And it's using the most difficult, painful parts of your life to say, hey, I'm going to make a difference I'm going to change my life, but in the process, I'm going to make a difference in other people's lives.
Absolutely.
And that is absolutely admirable. Can you think about a defining moment in your life when you realized that things had to change, that this is the path that you're going to go?
Yes. So I can't say the exact date, but
Right.
the moment is very clear. I was, the term full-time ministry is comical to me because there's no part-time. You either do it or you don't, right? Those calls are going to come. But I was, for several years, I was full-time at a church. So I'm baptizing, I'm dedicating babies, I'm marrying people, I'm doing hospital visits, all the things. And I was full-hearted and content. I was an assistant pastor. I was not called to be a pastor. I didn't want to be a pastor. I was an assistant pastor, and I relished that role and my responsibilities, and thought I would do it forever, and would have. I loved every second of it. But one day, if you're asking about a moment, it was just a direct, like a slap in the face. Like, you're going to be in the marketplace. I'm going to put you in the marketplace, and again, not the best student. Not too excited about school. My deal with that was, well, you're going to have to really help me and open the doors. And we truly don't have time to talk about all the ways that I feel like that the Lord helped me and opened those doors and really gave me favor more than any talent or resource. I feel like I had the favor of the Lord, and that's what allowed me to do it. And that was the moment that, hey, you're going to be in the marketplace. And I can confidently say that I feel like I have been more effective in many ways in the marketplace than in the church. And that's not a negative connotation on the ministry and what we're able to do. It's just the truth and where God has me. You
Right.
know? Yeah.
And in this process, was there any moment where you hit a low that was so difficult that you felt like giving up, but somehow you held on?
Yes, that one is very glaringly obvious also. So you would know the bar exam is not easy, right? So I struggled, and it was really difficult for me. And again, I think it goes back to the self-doubt or those kind of thoughts, or because so much of it is mental, right? It's not just that it's a difficult test. It's also kind of everything else that goes along with it. So I did struggle, but thankfully I had a wife that was, hey, we have a home. God has blessed us. We have beautiful kids. We're good. Like, just keep going, get back on that horse, keep going. So I had support at home where it mattered the most. So I was able to, remain confident, keep going until we got over that hump. But that was a difficult time. That was very difficult because those were extreme mental hurdles to get over. Anyone who's been through that, they understand what that means. Maybe someone on the outside is like, it's just a test, It's so much more than just a test. So that was a very difficult time. And again, I feel like I had so much support and help. And I can't not say this. I think every local church has a Sister Emily like ours. Is just the prayer warrior lady, and she would love that I say this, but it's true. She came to me and she prayed before I was going to take the exam, and I'd never heard these two words together before in my life. But she said, "I pray that the Lord gives you divine recall." And that when you sit down, everything will flood back to you and that you'll have divine recall. And I just had so much peace when she prayed that. And when I sat down, I had that confidence. I'm going to have divine recall. It's all going to come back. So I have to give credit where it's due and, be grateful and say so many people got me there. But I'm really thankful for people like that helped me through those really challenging times, because that was not easy.
I think this goes back to the beginning of our conversation of what priorities are. Like, your family, your children, your wife, your community, and that is going to take us through the difficult times. And where we have to invest our emotions, our times, is building this community that will sustain us when difficult times go. And this is a beautiful example of that. It's like,
I agree.
Your wife has been there through thick and thin, and when you didn't think you can go through, it's like that was the persistence of knowing, like, here, I can do it.
Yes.
So for those who are listening and can resonate with your story and feel like they're at a barrier breaking journey and they're in a very tough moment, what is something that you could tell them, that you would say to them?
I think I would say what we just said. You have that circle of people that you trust and know, and you lean on them. But also, I think what I've learned as well, career-wise, business in the marketplace or otherwise, just life in general, that people are going to have an opinion one way or the other. If you do one thing, they'll ask you why you didn't do it this way, or if you do it this way, why didn't you do it that way? That extrinsic outside noise is going to be there regardless. So I think if you focus on what your purpose is and what you need to do, and you execute that, you put those blinders on and you execute. It takes help, sure, but I think there does become a time where you're not on the defensive, you're on the offensive, and you're moving forward regardless of what barrier may be there. I think at some point you don't try to jump over it, you don't try to go around it, you just you go right through the barrier. Earlier I referenced that collateral damage, or kind of a blast radius, and I've been using that a lot lately because I believe that if you do break that barrier, that there are people that can come behind you, and it shows other people in your circle that, hey, maybe I can do something too. Maybe I can do that too, or maybe I can break my own barriers. And I've seen that play out in my life, and I think that's true.
Yeah. It's so important to get to listen to ourselves. Since we are very young, there's been so much noise in wanting the approval of others that sometimes we disconnect with who we are, and we end up living a life that was for someone else. And how important it is to sit down and know your purpose and hear your purpose. And along the way, you will find those people who rally around you.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, you will feel so much joy with what you do, because you know you are where you need to be.
Yes.
And I'm hearing that you are at that moment right now, like you are in a place where you feel that you can help others in their most difficult times. So if someone out there that's listening to you wants to connect with you, wants to reach out, and needs this type of support, how can they find you? Where do they find you?
Yes, so we make that really easy. It's really easy to get in touch. The easiest way is the website. So it's cappsinjurylaw.com. That's CAPPS, injurylaw.com. Capps Injury Law or Shaun Capps Injury Law on all social media. If anyone wants to reach out for any reason, we make that pretty easy. So I'd be honored to connect with anyone.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else you would like to say before we go?
No, ma'am.
Okay. It is absolutely wonderful to have you here, and thank you for what you do, and I wish you the best in everything that you do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.